Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gushin Galan and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 40 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. We begin with India. India's Defence Ministry has approved key military procurement proposals worth $8 billion, including the acquisition of 87 armed drones and over 110 air-launched BrahMos supersonic cruise missiles. The Defence Acquisition Council granted the acceptance of necessity for the new medium-altitude long-endurance drones, which will be produced in India with 60% indigenous content under a foreign partnership. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is in Moscow for talks with Russian officials on defense, oil deals and a planned Modi-Putin summit. Doval held a one-on-one meeting in St. Petersburg with Russian President Putin. Doval's visit comes as US President Donald Trump threatens 25% tariffs on Indian goods over continued Russian oil imports. Discussions will also reportedly cover the remaining delivery of S-400 missile systems used in May's Operation Sindoor. US President Donald Trump's foreign envoy Envoy Witkoff met Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin. Trump had stated a day ago that he will wait for the completion of his envoy's meeting to decide whether to impose the new sanctions. Trump had given Russia 50 days to halt the war in Ukraine. Later, he shortened the deadline, citing lack of progress. Sweden, Norway and Denmark will jointly contribute about $500 million to a NATO-led fund supplying US weapons to Ukraine, including Patriot missile systems and anti-tank arms. Sweden will provide $275 million, Norway $146 million and Denmark $90 million. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy welcomed the support, calling it a new foundation for European security and a strong message to Russia. Spain has reportedly scrapped its plan to purchase American-made F-35 fighter jets due to budget constraints. According to reports, the country will instead allocate $11.45 billion in additional defense spending within Europe. The decision comes amid criticism from US President Trump, who had threatened tariffs in response to Spain's refusal to boost defense spending beyond NATO's 2% target. Bangladesh will hold general elections in February next year, the first since student-led protests toppled former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in August 2024. Interim leader Mohammad Yunus made the announcement on the anniversary of Hasina's ouster, calling it a second liberation for the country. Former Prime Minister and Bangladesh Nationalist Party chairperson Khalida Zia is expected to contest the polls. India's President Draupadi Murmu welcomed Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at the President's house in New Delhi. A special banquet was also organized in the honor of the Philippines President. President Murmu hailed the wide-ranging cooperation between India and the Philippines on trade, defense, digital tech and the maritime domain. The visit also marks the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two nations. Nationalist historian Karol Nawrocki officially took office as Poland's president following his June 1 election win. The 42-year-old, known for his support of US President Donald Trump, was sworn in before Parliament, marking the start of his 5-year term. His victory is seen as a setback for the country's pro-EU government. Hundreds gathered at Hiroshima's Peace Memorial Park, marking 80 years since the atomic bombing. Protesters called for nuclear disarmament and defied local authorities' requests to leave. One man was arrested for allegedly assaulting a security guard. The event came amid growing global support for nuclear deterrence, including from Japan. The UK's Charity Commission has cleared Prince Harry of bullying accusations related to Centrebell, the African youth charity he co-founded. The probe followed a public leadership dispute earlier this year. While the Commission found no evidence of bullying, it criticized all parties for airing the conflict publicly, which damaged charity's reputation. On to climate news now. We begin with India. In the northern state of Uttarakhand, death toll has risen to 5 and over 150 people have been evacuated so far after cloudbursts triggered deadly flash floods in the Uttarkashi region on Tuesday. Around 100 people are still missing in Dharali village. 10 soldiers are also unaccounted for, according to officials. Dozens of hotels and homestays have been swept away in the tourist town. Rescue operations are underway as heavy rain continues to batter the region. Heavy rains also continue to batter southern China. Forecasters have warned of more thunderstorms on Wednesday. Over 360 flights were cancelled at the city's busiest airport on August 6th. This comes after Guangdong's capital recorded its second heaviest August rainfall in a century on Tuesday. More than 7,000 people have been evacuated in affected areas. According to officials, more rain is expected in the coming days. A wildfire in southern France killed at least one woman and injured 9 people on Wednesday. The blaze broke out on August 5th, scorching more than 11,000 hectares, although high humidity helped slow its spread overnight. Meanwhile, at least 25 homes were damaged in the Eure department. More than 1,000 firefighters were deployed to battle the flames. According to officials, emergency crews remain on high alert as conditions could worsen. Fires raged across Spain as a brutal heatwave gripped the country. Wildfires broke out in at least 2 regions on Tuesday. Firefighters raced to contain the flames near homes in the northwest and south. One village and several hotels were evacuated. Strong winds hampered containment efforts. According to officials, the fires erupted near beaches and campsites. Several regions remain on high alert as temperatures soar. Australia's Great Barrier Reef has suffered its worst annual coral loss since records began in 1986. The findings were released by marine scientists on Tuesday, and it said at least 2 out of 3 sections saw sharp declines in live coral cover. The damage was driven by mass bleaching, 2 cyclones and severe flooding. Coral reefs support marine life and help protect coastlines, but experts warn the reef may be approaching a tipping point. On to business, economic and tech news now. Shares in Asian markets slipped earlier today following a weak close on Wall Street amid concerns over tariff-driven slowdowns. The MSCI index of Asia Pacific shares fell 0.2%, while Chinese and Hong Kong markets stayed flat, and Japan's Nikkei edged up just 0.2%. US futures were also in the red, with Nasdaq falling 0.3% and S&P 500 down 0.1%. The Reserve Bank of India kept its key repo rate steady at 5.50% in line with economists' expectations. This as policymakers waited to see the impact of recent rate cuts and assess risks from higher than expected US tariffs. The 6-member rate-setting panel held the policy rate in a unanimous vote. The central bank has cut the policy repo rate by 100 basis points so far this year. US President Donald Trump said he would name a replacement for Federal Reserve Governor Adriana Kugler before the end of next week. Kugler resigned unexpectedly last week, with her term set to end this Friday, prompting a shortlisting process for her successor. Trump also confirmed he had narrowed his picks for Fed chair, including economic advisor Kevin Hassett and former Fed Governor Kevin Walsh, amid criticism of current chair Jerome Powell. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said Ottawa would provide up to $870 million to support lumber products facing US tariffs. The package includes $508 million in loan guarantees and $362 million to fund product development and diversification. The announcement came as the US moved to triple anti-dumping duties, with total tariffs expected to rise from 34.5% from 14.5%. US Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said new rules were being proposed to allow drones to fly beyond the visual line of sights of operators. The plan aimed to speed up commercial drone use, including for package deliveries and medical supplies, without needing individual waivers. The rules included new safety requirements for operators and security checks for coordinators and traffic managers as part of a broader push to boost US drone deployment. Disney's ESPN said it had struck a landmark deal with the NFL to acquire the league's media assets, including the NFL Network and NFL Fantasy, in exchange of a 10% stake in ESPN. The NFL was estimated to have gained a multi-billion-dollar holding, with analysts valuing its stake at between $2 and $3 billion, although neither party disclosed an official figure. A new report suggested that Cathie Pacific was finalizing a deal to buy more Boeing 777X jets as the airline looked to modernize its fleet ahead of Hong Kong airport expansion plans. The planned order, the first in 12 years, could reportedly replace older 777 models. Cathie was also evaluating Boeing 787 Dreamliner and more Airbus A350s. Billionaire Elon Musk and Tesla were sued by shareholders who accused them of securities fraud for allegedly hiding safety risks in the company's self-driving vehicles, including the robo-taxis. The lawsuit came after a public test in June where Tesla robo-taxis were seen speeding, swerving and dropping passengers in the middle of the roads. Nvidia said its chips did not have backdoors or kill switches and warned that adding them would help hackers and enemies. The statement came after China called Nvidia to a meeting over a US plan to add tracking features to high-end AI chips to stop them from being sent to countries under export bans. Nvidia said this would damage trust in the US technology and added that secret backdoors only create security risks, not protection. OpenAI was reportedly in early-stage talks to sell employee shares worth billions of dollars. The deal could value the ChatGPT maker at a staggering $500 billion, up from $300 billion. The sale came amid a corporate restructuring as OpenAI considered a future IPO. Moving to sports, we begin with tennis. Four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka advanced to the semi-finals of the Canadian Open. The former world number one beat Alina in the straight sets. Osaka, who is chasing her first WTA Tour level title since the 2021 Australian Open, needed just 68 minutes to beat her Ukrainian rival. The Japanese star will meet 16th seed Clara Towson in the semi-finals. US second seed Taylor Fritz beat Andrei Rubilv 6-3, 7-6 to reach the ATP Toronto Masters semi-finals. The American claimed his place in the fifth semi-final of the season in 83 minutes. Fritz will play for a spot in the final against the fourth seed compatriot Ben Shelton. Shelton made it to the semis after beating Australian Alex de Minaur 6-3, 6-4. In football, Inter Miami coach confirms Lionel Messi will miss the club's upcoming League's Cup match due to a muscle issue. The Argentinian striker suffered a minor muscle injury in his upper right leg during Inter Miami's match last weekend. While there is no timetable for Messi's return, Inter Miami remains hopeful the star would soon be back on the field. Liverpool midfielder Tyler Morton joins French club Lyon on the 5-year contract. The 22-year-old arrives from the Premier League champions from a fee of over $11 million. Morton joined Liverpool's academy at the age of 7 and signed his first professional contract with the Reds at the age of 17. Capped 13 times at under-21 level for England, Morton was a central figure as the team were crowned European champions in June. Premier League sides Manchester United and Newcastle have both reportedly placed competing bids for striker Benjamin Sesko. The Red Devils have reportedly made an initial bid of over $98 million. Newcastle have also made a bid worth the same price. The Slovenia striker has scored 16 times in 41 appearances at international level. Former Arsenal footballer Thomas Partey was granted conditional bail by a London court on rape and sexual assault charges. The 32-year-old Ghana international has been charged with 5 counts of rape against 2 women and 1 count of sexual assault against a third woman. The alleged offences took place between 2021 and 2022 when he was an Arsenal player. In cricket, New Zealand ruled out pace Will O'Rourke from the second test against Zimbabwe. The 24-year-old was injured on the third day of the New Zealand's 9-wicket triumph over Zimbabwe in the first test. He has been sent home to undergo further assessment. French authorities say River Seine swimming sites in Paris welcome more than 35,000 swimmers since the opening in early July. After a years-long clean-up effort, the river reopened to swimmers last month, marking the first time since 1923 that people could take a dip in the iconic waterway. The swimming spots remain open to the public for free until August 31st. The Chennai Grandmasters chess tournament has been postponed by a day following a fire at the venue. The tournament will now begin on August 7th. The 20-player event will now proceed without the previously scheduled break on August 11th. US President Donald Trump established a task force to lead the organizing effort of the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. The group's goal is to ensure the Games are safe, seamless, and historically successful. President Trump will serve as chairman and Vice President J.D. Vance will be vice chair of the task force. And finally, in entertainment news, here's a look at the top nominations of the 2025 MTV Videos Music Awards. Lady Gaga tops the nominations with 12 nods, Bruno Mars follows with 11, while Kendrick Lamar secures 10. Sabrina Carpenter and Rose earn 8 each. Ariana Grande and The Weeknd have 7 and Billie Eilish lands 6. Charlie XCX receives 5, while Bad Bunny, Doechii, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, Tate McRae and Miley Cyrus each receive 4 nominations. The VMAs will air live on CBS on September 7th. Blackpink's Pink Venom music video has surpassed 1 billion views on YouTube, marking the group's 6th video to achieve the milestone. Released in August 2022, the track was the lead single from their album Born Pink, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. The song peaked at number 22 on the Billboard Hot 100. Stranger Things co-creator Ross Duffer has revealed that post-production on the first 2 episodes of the show's final season is complete. He called episode 1, titled The Crawl, the most eventful since season 1 and teased the episode 2, The Vanishing Of, contains their wildest cold open yet. The final season is split into 3 parts, with Volume 1 releasing on November 26, Volume 2 on December 25 and the series finale streaming on December 31 on Netflix. Netflix's K-pop Demon Hunters has reached 158.8 million views since its June 20 release, making it the platform's 4th most watched English language film on all time. The musical fantasy has remained on the top 10 list for 7 consecutive weeks, trailing only Red Notice, Carry On and Don't Look Up. And Disney's live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch will debut on Disney Plus on September 3. The film stars Mia Khalifa of Lilo and follows her friendship with Stitch, a blue alien crash-landed on Earth. Set in Hawaii, the story centers on sisterhood, identity and alien misadventures with Stitch pursued by extraterrestrials. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gursheen Galan and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Until then, stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.